Hello, I'm FX Toycat, and welcome back to Q&A Saturday. This is the Sometimes Witty series where you ask questions, I answer them. Every YouTuber does it, right? You answer the questions that people ask, and it's easy filler content. But you know, here's the deal about Q&As. Most of the questions suck. You're meant to be like, oh no, all questions are equal. All opinions are equally valid. No, your opinions sometimes suck, and you ask really bad questions because you don't know what asking a good question is. I'm sorry, it's just true. So I asked you for some of your questions, and I said I was going to roast them. Or maybe I didn't actually. So as it turns out, I did not say I was going to roast the questions, but you know, that's what makes it even better. These are genuine questions, and I'm going to let you know why they're really bad questions to improve your question asking skills. So it's a Q&A, except I'm not really answering the questions. I'm more just taking the questions. I'm giving you questions about those questions. Q, and no A. That's what I'm talking about today. So with that said, let's dive into the first question, which comes in from the Wizard Warlock, except Warlock is spelt wrong, so there's your first bit of feedback. If you're going to ask a question, at least have a correct name, Mr. Warlock. But they ask Q&A. What's the weirdest thing you've ever been asked for a Q&A question? So never ask superlatives in general, because they're really hard to answer on the spot. You got to bear in mind, I just read that question, what's my answer going to be? I need to think about that for a long time. I need to take my entire Q&A Saturday experience, 6 or 7 years now worth of questions. I need to work out the weirdest one. I'm either going to be inaccurate or I'm going to give you an answer that's wrong. Superlatives, i.e. the weirdest, the strongest, the fastest, the best, the worst, they're really bad questions on the internet because it's permanent. They might be good on the top of your head, like, hey, you just met a cute girl at a party. What's your favorite band? She might know that. She might already have something going for that. Even then, though, it's just like, what do you like is a better question than what's your favorite. What's the weirdest thing is worse than what's an example of a weird thing, because otherwise it seems like almost like a form of lying, and also it's hard to come up with a guaranteed thing on the spot. So superlatives, very bad way to ask questions, Mr. Person who spelt their name wrong. Also, the second question comes in from Sevo777, who asks, what have you done with IBX Real Dog? And fun question, but it's not really a good question because it's more like a meme joke of like, ha 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 ha. What am I meant to answer? Like, oh yeah, I killed him. I stuffed the body in my trunk and he's been dead for 6 years, lol. It's like, you know, it's a bad question for the sake of being a question. It's a fun thing to post when I ask for questions, maybe, but that makes it a bad question, and therefore, Sevo, your name sucks too. 777, you know, what have you won in your life? Clearly not the profile picture lottery, that's for sure, Mr. Cavo. So let's move into the next question, which comes in from Victor Luvano, who says, do you think the Ender Dragon needs a buff / make it a harder battle? So, first of all, not a question, ends with a full stop for some reason. It's like that, you know, you're saying a statement right there, you're not asking a question. Second of all, a little bit of a grammatical incorrectness there, like, do you think the Ender Dragon needs a buff / make it a harder battle? You know, like that, there is a disconnect between the first and the last half of that. Third of all, you know, there's no space between the you know, buff / make. You either have a space on both sides or you have a space on neither side. It's really weird when you don't have that, and the 20 people who upvoted your comment, they should feel bad about it. But also, yeah, for the record, I mean, it'd be cool to see it buff, but I think on Bedrock it's hard enough. I think on Java, maybe they could do a buff. I would say some nerfs in some way to make it more of a challenge than like a ridiculous whatever it is right now, but that's just me. Who knows, you know, my opinion's not valid. But what is valid is Bryce Clapper saying, what is your favorite naturally generating structure? And then they've got 3 question marks. Why so aggressive? You don't need to be so mad, you know, like give me 1 question mark. Like, what is your favorite naturally generating structure? Because the way that reads is, what is your favorite naturally generating structure? Tell me now, or I'm gonna burn down your house because I'm an angry ex-girlfriend. And you know what, Bryce Clapper, you might be an angry ex-girlfriend based on that, what is that, cartoon profile picture of a dog? You know, that's what the girlfriend's gonna kill if I don't tell her about my naturally generated structure in 5 seconds from this. Again, 1 question mark, pretty normal. If you're confused, add a bunch of question marks, but you should not be confused as to my favorite naturally generating structure, Mr. Bryce Clapper. So next up here, we've got Nicholas Padilla, who asks, who's Joe? Ha ha! Ha ha! Funny! You say Joe Mama, you get it? It's like the meme on the internet. It's so funny. It's original humor. I'm saying things that people say, and you're saying them too in a way that people can recognize, because coming up with independent humor is so hard that why do we do it at all? Why don't we just reference things that have been said already that weren't particularly funny besides the implementations of their humor? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be the best thing in the world? Your question sucks and you should feel bad. So next up we've got Struck1, who says, are you willing to enter a romantic relationship with Will Smith? So first of all, Will Smith should be capitalized. very key part of that one right there. Second of all, I think, you know, the lack of... Something about the rest of this actually does bother me. Like, there's no punctuation, there's no question mark. It's just, are you willing to enter a romantic relationship with Will Smith? And it's a silly question too, because of course everybody wants to be in a romantic relationship with Will Smith. What a silly question for a Q&A. Next up here, we've got I Am Common asking, do you like Minecraft? Haha! What a great thing to ask a Minecraft channel. No, I think this might actually be a good question if you take it and you be like, you know what, do I like Minecraft anymore? You could expand and expound on this one, but as a base question, I don't need to explain why this one's bad, Mr. I Am Common. However, Sissy Sisut says, what's the most random fact you know? And to answer that one, the most random fact I know is that, you know what, your question asking ability sucks. The next question is from Stephen Kane, who asks, what happens when a tree falls in Minecraft? I mean, they're basically giving me the setup for a joke that I have to answer myself. Like, nobody hears it? What's going on right there? So next up, we have a question from Ben Wilcox, who asks, what is your greatest fear? Spiders, heights, dying alone, lack of cave update, being famous? So actually, I think this is a pretty good question because it's asking a superlative, which is bad, but then it's at least giving like a bunch of examples of like dying alone, being famous. Those are two pretty big fears, right? They're actually kind of counter to each other though, at least. Like, even though being famous is a big fear, I think dying alone is, you know, like you can't die alone if you're famous, and you can't be famous if you die alone, probably. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by dying alone. If I died right now in this video, would you be upset? Would you be like, wow, he died alone? This is fun. Toycat, how's life going? We're concerned about your mental stability. I like this one because it's a simple like, hey, you want to tell us you're okay? And then we're concerned about your mental stability. See, they're even justifying their question. Unknown Name has asked the one good question this week, and you see how many upvotes it got? It got 7. People don't care about good questions. They don't want to see good answers. They want to see like, ha ha ha, you said the funny thing in question form. But you know what? You can't have two people both playing the funny man. You can't have two people both playing the straight man. At least not in a same-sex couple. But yeah, how's your life going? Actually, the one good question, but it's only good to me. Like, I want to tell you how my life's going. You don't want to hear about it though. Like, what does it matter if things are going really well right now? What does it matter if happiness is not just a fleeting feeling, but something that I feel all the time? What do those things matter to you? You know, I don't think it does. So maybe it's a bad question too. Maybe the fact that I like this question is why it should be roasted. So Brian Olsen asks, if you could have any job besides being a YouTuber, what would it be? So if I had to pick a job right now, because being a YouTuber, I would say it's kind of like a job, but also the opposite of that, right? Also, my chair has moved since the iron sword thing. It's kind of like a job, but also it's not kind of really. So it's basically like, hey, Toycat, you have to get a job in the real people world, doing real people things. I'd want a job where I could turn off my brain for 10 hours a week. I guess the fewest number of hours a week you'd force me to work. And it can just be like, oh yeah, you go there, you pick up milk crates, you put them down somewhere else. You pick up a milk crate, you put it down somewhere else. You get a workout in, you get some time to think, and then when you go home, you're clocked out, you're done. There are so many jobs, and I'll be honest, YouTube is kind of one of them. When you are done with it, you're not done with it. While I took a week break to be in Australia. I think Honey Blocks came out and they changed. They're really cool. They changed them to make Redstone so much bigger and better. I wasn't able to talk about it. I had to decide between like, hey, are you going to take some of your time off and dedicate it to the thing that you're taking time off from, or are you going to take a huge hit to your, you know, your livelihood in that way by not releasing a video on a big new change? That sucks. That's kind of crazy. Every night, like, I get messages from people being like, this video's broken, and it's like, oh god. I gotta, like, maybe I showed my, you know, I've showed my credit card and pictures before. Not a small idea, as it turns out, by the way. Yeah, there's so many things that can get to you when you're outside of it, that I'd love to have a job that's just very physically engaging, not mentally, because I find this to be one of the most mentally engaging things. In a good way, you know, when there's a good stream, we're having a good chat. When I'm talking about something I really care about, that's kind of good. So yeah, that's the thing. Oh, this question was so good, I answered it. And that's what makes it too bad. I can't even roast your question. That's what I was doing today. Didn't you know, even though I didn't tell you? You didn't know. So next up, we've got Crunchy Toast here asking, if you could rearrange the letters of your name, IBX Toycat, to something new, what would it be? And That's a terrible thing. You're asking me to come up with an anagram of my own name. If I was going to rearrange my name, you know what I'd pick? I'd pick my current goddamn name because that's the one I picked, because that's how things are. If I wanted a new name, I would pick one not using those same letters. If I didn't want a new name and I had to use those letters, then I'd pick my current exact one, or the closest thing therefore. Like, you know, I'd switch the T in Toy Cat with the T in Toy Cat, and that's how I'd switch them around, because that's how you get a good name. But yeah, your question sucks, because who wants to anagram their own name, Crunchy Toast? Next up though, we've got Zombie B, who says, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your favorite color of the alphabet? Haha, I have never heard this one before. You are so interesting and quirky, and you came up with a measuring scale, and then you ask something unrelated about something unrelated yet more. 3 unrelated things? Wow, no one's ever asked this exact thing before. This isn't a really common funny joke on the internet that you're just repeating right here, by the way, without a question mark. Such a good question. I love this so much. What a wonderful thing. Thank you for asking it. Aha, you know what? It's also a great question because I'm going to answer that with 6, and it's funny because 6 can't be my favorite color of the alphabet, but yeah, you know what? You can be the favorite color of the alphabet. Zombie B. Get out of here. Next up, we have Exterminator asking Toy Cat, when will you do a toy reveal? It's a fun meme on the internet to be like, ha ha ha, feet, right? But the thing is, when you're any form of publicly exposed, you know, like maybe 20,000 people choose to watch this video, some non-insignificant number of those people actually would like to see my feet, right? And when you joke about it, you're enabling them, and it's fine, I guess. Like, be into feet if you want to. Like, it's not the biggest problem. It's 2019, you know. Like, as long as you don't want to literally kill children, then do what you want. And if you want to literally kill children, as long as it's like in a video game, then that's kind of fine, right? But like, yeah, if you when it comes to like the foot thing, you gotta be careful. Oh wait, non-insignificant number of you who are into feet, I recognize you right now. It's fine. It's good. Like, don't let anyone shame you about that. It's a normal part of the human body. And if you become a member right now, you can get some feet pictures in the near future. That's right. You can say that you're doing it to support the channel, but really you can see my beautiful, delightful Amazon basics. See, I just did the thing I was talking about. Why? This is the worst thing. Look what you've done to me, Exterminator. But I do have 5 toes. I've actually got a really gross toenail on one of my feet, because when I was like 13, I was breaking into a factory with a friend. Don't ask why or where, but I was breaking into this factory, and we had to smash a window or something, or break open a door. Like, we had this giant pipe thing that weighed maybe like 5 kilos on screen in freedom units if you live in a country that doesn't use the system the rest of the world uses. But yeah, it was like 5 kilos or something. And then my friend just dropped it on my goddamn foot, and the pain of having something that heavy on there, really bad. But then also the toenail just peeled all the way off. And I don't think your toenails are meant to grow all the way. I think they're like meant to just regrow a little bit. And yeah, that's the story about how I lost my entire toenail once. And my foot hurt for like a year afterwards. And yeah, I don't know. I've always seen my mother... Okay, I don't like where this is going. Oh, this is the sort of thing that's going to go bad places. But over honesty of the internet, let's do it. So, I don't know what the situation was, but once I saw my mother had the exact same thing on like both her feet, and because she said like a horse treading it. One, imagine a horse treading on your with their like iron boot things too, right? Their horseshoes, if you will. And 2, yeah, this is a pro tip right now. Never break your toenail all the way off, because it never seems to grow back entirely correctly. Actually, I'm going to check my toenail right now. It's not as gross as it was when I was a teenager. So, it might have taken me literally 11 years, but my toenail's like 90% fine now. But the fact that it's 90% fine after 10 years, doesn't that tell you a good lesson? What did this Q&A become? What do all of my videos become, really? Next up here, we've got this question from Julia Ray Ray, who says, do you think it's weird how skeletons have infinite arrows, even though the bow doesn't have infinity on it? Wow, that is kind of weird, I guess. First of all, no question mark. Second of all, this is a question with only one clear answer, right? What I meant to say, no, don't think that's weird. And then the other answer is, yes, I do think that's weird. Isn't that crazy? You know, it's a good observation, but what are observations? Are they questions? Oh no, what's that? Observations, questions. Do you notice how they're different words? They're spelt differently and they mean different things. How crazy! What a wacky world we live in where we use different words for different things. And when I ask for questions and you give me observations, you're doing it wrong. You're being a bad subscriber and you don't get your feet pics. Even though you gave money now, Mr. Julio Ray Ray. I know it's you secretly that wants the toenail reveal, but you don't get to see it because that's the type of person you are. But no, more seriously, I've always thought it's weird in Minecraft that skeleton arrows are basically a functionally different thing. If they fire an arrow and it lands on the ground, you can't pick it up. And I get why for game balance reasons, but it's like, it feels so wrong. And it's a good example of like gameplay being different to actual reality. And maybe you agree with that. Or maybe you disagree with this whole video and you're only watching so far because, I don't know, you're bored, your parents are fighting in the other room, you just want them to stop and for it to all go away. And what you do is you watch IBX Toy Cat videos instead. And if that's what you choose to do, I appreciate that a lot. And I hope you appreciate me too. You can like this video episode. You can share if you really like it. And you know what? If you really, really, really like it, you can become a member. And there's a small, non-insignificant chance that you'll see my foot in the near future. There's zero chance. I don't want to show my feet ever on the internet. Because again, there are people who would like that in a way that makes me uncomfortable. And you know what? Being uncomfortable is bad. Controversial opinion. So thank you very much for watching today's video. And I guess I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.